purpose of this guidance is to show how to record someone's immigration situation on-chain. Immigration information is recorded and shared on-chain for the purpose of supporting clients to resolve their immigration situation. It should not be recorded or shared in any which way which could result in the client being detained, removed, or reported. Information on data protection arrangements and expectations can be found on the chain main page. Creating clients on-chain. This guidance is specific to recording immigration support needs. There is some chain guidance on working with clients with an immigration support need, which can be found here. When you first make a client on-chain, you will be asked to complete fields relating to their immigration situation. These are mandatory, and I will now go through them in more detail. Firstly, there is the immigration status option with these drop-down options. If you are unsure on what to select, the chain guidance on working with clients with an immigration support need includes a description of the different immigration statuses. If the client's nationality has been recorded as UK or Ireland on the client's main page, then you will be required to record UK national or Irish national in the immigration status field. You can also state that the client has no clear status at this time, if you do not yet know their immigration status and other related details. If the client doesn't know their immigration status or they have no clear status, they should be referred for immigration advice. Secondly, record the source of the immigration status, i.e., how you have confirmed the client's immigration status. The options here are confirmed by documents, confirmed by immigration advisor, not known, or self-reported. The guidance also gives more details on when to choose each option. Confirmed by documents should be chosen if you have seen documentation that confirms the client's status, e.g. their biometric residency permit. Confirmed by immigration advisor should be chosen if the client's immigration advisor has confirmed their status, and self-reported should be used if the client has told you about their status, but you haven't seen documentation to support this or it hasn't been confirmed by an advisor. Depending on the client's immigration status, you may be prompted to confirm the client's access to means-tested benefits, for example, universal credit, with 3 options as shown here. The chain guidance also gives more details on when to choose each option. Next, if the client's immigration status indicates that they have an immigration support need, you will then need to provide further info about their immigration advice situation. These are the options, and the chain guidance here gives more info on when to choose each option. The next field is the immigration advisor details. If you indicate that a client requires or is receiving immigration advice, then you will be required to select an option from this. If the advice provider isn't in the drop-down, you can select option and use the notes field to provide their details. If they do not have an advisor, you can select no immigration advisor. The next section is about immigration notes. This is a free text box for you to include any immigration advice related action that a future support worker might find helpful. For example, the date where a client will need to renew their immigration status. The next section is about the date the client first entered the UK. The purpose of this field is to help identify whether the client requires immigration advice and whether they may potentially be eligible to apply for settled status under the EU settlement scheme. This is a mandatory field, so not known can be selected if the info is not known. If the client has given a rough time, for example, summer 2019, you should enter a date that falls within this general period and then select estimated. Support needs and lifestyle form. As part of your broader work with clients, you should create a support needs and lifestyle form, also commonly referred to as a support needs assessment. There is a chain user guide focused on support needs assessments generally, which can be found here on the chain main page. The support needs and lifestyle form can be found here midway down the client records page. Any forms that have previously been recorded will be listed here, and you can click on them to view individual details. If there are any changes about a client's immigration situation, you can make a new support needs and lifestyle form. Recording ongoing immigration support work. You can also record work done to support a client with their immigration situation using timeline events on Chain. Timeline events can be found midway down the client page on the right-hand side, or alternatively under related lists. The relevant events can be found under the ID immigration record type. There are three options as shown here. ID, immigration advice, or client has received a 28-day notice. Firstly, you can record work completed supporting a client to access ID. The event field has an option for you to specify what type of documentation you are supporting them with. You can then use the status field to specify what has happened in relation to the specified documentation. You can record work you've done when supporting a client to access immigration advice. You have the option of using three timeline events. A, referred or signposted to immigration advice. The immigration support need guidance gives a description on when you should use this. B, client contact with immigration advisor with the option of client supported or independent. You should use the status field to specify the details. The immigration support need guidance gives a description on when you should use each of these. Contact between a caseworker and an immigration advisor. The immigration support need guidance gives a description of this again. When recording any of the timeline events outlined above, you can use the service type field to specify which immigration advice agency the event relates to. Clients receiving a 28-day notice. This timeline event should be used if a client has been issued a notice by the Home Office instructing them to resolve their lack of immigration status by submitting an EUSS application within 28 days. Potential settled status eligibility alert. You might notice some clients displaying this alert on their main page. This is automatically generated on a client record if they are a non-UK Irish national and the date entered the UK field indicates that they entered the country more than 4 years and 11 months ago, and they have recorded immigration status, which indicates it may be appropriate for them to apply for settled status under the EU settlement scheme. It's important to note that this flag indicates that the client is potentially eligible. It doesn't mean that they are definitely eligible or that the clients that don't have this flag are definitely not eligible. You should check that the info in the date entered UK flag is accurate and confirm eligibility with an immigration advisor and the client. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or need further support, you can contact Chain. The details are on the Chain main page.